Hello everybody, this is Joey from the Chart Guys. I've been trading for 7 years and learning under Dan for 6 of them. And I used to live up in Michigan and ended up stalking Dan, came down here to North Carolina and now live about 20 minutes away from him. And I'm here to talk about some crypto. So yesterday, as everybody knows right now, it's all about this ETF headline. And yesterday, sources reported that a Bitcoin spot ETF is going to be approved by the SEC for multiple firm applications today. Yesterday it said tomorrow, so that would be today. So do we have a headline imminent? I don't know. We'll see. Lots of headlines have been floating around for a long time, as everybody knows. We've also got the January 10th date that lots of folks are watching, and now is just the time to be on your toes. So let's get into the charts here and see what we are working with. So as we can often anticipate after big time volatility, we've got a tightening range. So the time frame that it was clearest on has kind of been shifting. After we got this little wick on the 4-hour here, I was looking at the 6-hour, and it was a 6-hour tightening range. And then after we didn't really get the 6-hour bounce there, I'm back to the 4-hour. But what we can say for sure is we've got high, low, lower high, higher low, lower high, and bulls trying to shape up this higher low right now. So when we zoom into the 15-minute, we can see we just got our 15-minute uptrend. That's the first sign of that 4-hour higher low shaping on up, but we're going to have to break the high of this current candle, next candle, if that's going to be the case. And then the direction that this tightening range breaks will let us know, do we have a daily bounce underway? And we're looking right back up to these recent highs at 45,879, or are we continuing back down to the sucker punch lows at 47.50. So that's what we're working with on BTC. And in the beginning of these tightening ranges, there's a lot of opportunity because the ranges are large. Looking off of the low here, that's almost 10% up. Then we've got 5% down. But as you continue to tighten on up, opportunity starts to shrink on up, and then you kind of just wait for the break there. So is today going to be the day that we get the headline? Who knows? If it is, we've got a nice setup going into it because you can be playing the break of this range and have a decently close stop in the scheme of things. So that's what we're going to be watching moving forward here. And as far as evaluating other altcoins, we can look at where names stand in relation to the dump on Wednesday and determine, is it stronger than Bitcoin or weaker than Bitcoin? So you can use your fib tool and pull a fib from that high to the low. And we know that Bitcoin is about 62% of the move off of the low here. And then if we look at some other names, like let's look at Matic, we can see it's much, much lower here. We have got, just above the 382. So that's how you're going to be evaluating relative strength and relative weakness. And we can also see who's still in a tightening range, who set a lower high and is just slinking on down. So let's go through the list and look at some of our main things here. So before we get into that, though, let's talk about dominance. So dominance continues its stair step all the way up here on the daily time frame, just a higher low every daily candle. On the way up, that's our weekly bounce, seeing some follow through. And we're going to be looking for a weekly lower high on this bounce, but that's not going to shape up until we at least lose the daily stair step at the minimum for step 1. But what's been interesting about this dominance move up is it's kind of been passing back and forth what version of dominance upside we're getting, because we know that when the dominance chart is moving up, that's showing us that Bitcoin is performing better than alts, but that can be because Bitcoin is going up more than alts, or it can be because alts are going down more than Bitcoin. So this current leg up that we've got is because alts are going down more than Bitcoin. This first leg up that we had was because Bitcoin was going up more than alts. So it's always important to keep tabs on that relationship just so we can kind of understand where the scene is sitting as a whole here. So just going to keep it simple. Watch the daily stair step. We know that alts are pretty red here. When we look through the list, pretty much every alt is red except for TRB as far as what I've got on this watch list right now. Obviously, there's some smaller cap alts that are doing fine and popping off still, but as far as like main alts, pretty much everybody's red here today. So looking at ETH, we can see we've got a pretty similar 4-hour tightening range, but it is a bit weaker than Bitcoin, not only from a retracement perspective. If we pull that fib from the high to the low, we're just below the 0.5 retrace, so it's weaker in that respect, but then it's also weaker when we look at comparative candles. So if we're looking at this this Thursday evening candle here on ETH, and then we look at that on Bitcoin, ETH is below, Bitcoin is above. So just there's multiple ways that we can evaluate what has relative strength and what has relative weakness. We know we've got our ratio charts, but then you can just look at the charts side by side. So ETH, let's see, we've just got 6-hour 12 EMA resistance. We have got daily inside bars, and same deal as BTC. If we break these inside bars to the upside, we're going to be looking for a daily lower high. If we break them to the downside, then we're looking back to that sucker punch low. So on the note of this, as we sit here waiting for a potential headline, now is the time to be making game plans. And, we talked a bit a couple days ago about, is it going to be sell the news? Isn't it going to be sell the news? And we'll go into that a little bit more here, just because surely there's some new folks. But in terms of making your game plan, if you are long Bitcoin and you want to give it a chance to be a move that sees continuation, you can be hedging via other coins. And there are a lot of alts that are decently far off of their highs. If we look at Bitcoin, the high is within a stone's throw. It's still a decent percentage, but compared to how we've been moving, 5% is not that big of a deal. But then if we look at a coin like Matic, we have so much room up to resistance. The highs are 31% away. So there's a setup here as we kind of, in my opinion, it's a sell the news scenario is the more likely scenario. And that's not necessarily like as soon as the headline drops, we just dump. I mean, I would assume we're going to get a solid move up on the headline, but I'm anticipating the potential for a solid move up and then just coming back down. So what the setup is on some of these alts is that if you want to hedge your Bitcoin against the potential that we see that solid move up and then come right back down, you can look to top fish some of these weaker alts that have room for lower highs. So last stream, we were talking about this quarterly tightening range on Matic. Let's see, let me get this squared up here. We've got our high, low, lower high, higher low, and anything below this 156.81 would be another lower high. When we go into our weekly time frame, we know we just broke this tightening range bullish without follow through. And very often when you get flags confirming without follow through, that tells you that maybe you've got a larger time frame pivot coming up. So when you have that larger time frame context, along with what just went down on the weekly, combined with the distance from resistance, Matic is a prime candidate, in my opinion, for a potential hedge or an aggressive short. Because if it is a sell the news event, there will be a lot of money to be made to the downside. Obviously, tons of money has been made to the upside throughout 2023. But as active traders, we're not as focused with, are we going up or are we going down? We're focusing on good setups that we can get in with reasonable risk to reward and just seeking out volatility. So I would get yourself a game plan of, what am I doing if it's, crazy buying on the news and then backburners hit and we go to higher highs, and then the next round of backburners hit and we go to higher highs. Have your bull plan and then have your bear plan, and you can implement both of those at the same time. So you can say, all right, if we get a positive headline, I'm going to be looking to short Matic playing off of the highs, and I'm going to look to walk up stops on my Bitcoin or whatever. So Matic is one of my favorite looks for that at the moment because it's that multifaceted thesis. Another one, and this is just easy pickings, Ape, we know has been just weak for ages, and it's another one that the highs are 33% away. So what are the odds that on that news, Ape just goes to absolute new highs? If it ends up being a buy the news scenario, which again I think is the less likely scenario, then maybe all these coins go to new highs. I would imagine moves will be pretty BTC focused, but the space ebbs and flows as a unit. So BTC, Big Daddy BTC is going to be driving the ship, and that is that. So get yourself some alts that maybe you take some top fishes on, so that if it is a sell the news event, then you can either be neutralized or have a bear lean and make money to the downside. So those are the two that I'm liking. And Ape BTC, just to kind of talk about the ratio charts again, this thing has been a lead bear since we broke this monthly equilibrium to the downside. Tightened up for about a year, broke bear. It's just been all bears, monthly stair steps straight down the whole way. Another one that was kind of similar is ZEC BTC. Had a monthly tightening range, broke bear. It's been all bear since then. Black dirt breakdown. So these ratio charts are so important in determining bigger picture standing. And that's why I was saying I don't really have much interest in LTC until we get over the 3-day 12 EMA, which has been acting as resistance. I don't have much interest in ETH until we get over the weekly 12 EMA resistance, because that just tells us what we are working with. And to that note of the larger time frame ratio charts and their importance, this is an important spot for ETH. We've got a quarterly tightening range. Low, high, higher low, lower high, and we've been battling out near this low back from April 2022 for quite some time. But if this breaks bear, then that's going to be yearly consolidation getting underway on this ratio chart, and then we'll look for the same thing on the yearly time frame. Low, high, higher low, lower high, and we'll certainly be looking for a higher low compared to this 2019 low. But if that were to happen and ETH BTC were to pull back, then the ETH relative weakness would remain for a good while. The flip side is if ETH holds support, ETH BTC holds support, we get over the weekly 12 EMA, then that's when we see ETH get its turn on this pump up. So ETH BTC has that. Matic BTC has a similar tightening range on the quarterly. We've got high, low, lower high, and battling out down here. It was looking like bulls. Let me zoom in a little bit. We're trying to hold this support back here and get the move up, but it came back down. So if this ratio chart breaks that support, that's another key ratio that's going to be entering yearly consolidation. We'll be looking for a higher low, but that could spell relative weakness for a long time. So ratio charts, absolutely gangbusters. If you want to learn more about them, I did a webinar on correlations. If you go to our YouTube channel and go to playlist, there's Joey webinars, and it's the 4th webinar, and that is all on correlations and ratio charts and whatnot. And it's really become one of my top edges in trading, because it just makes it so you have, it's like stacking the deck, kind of. You have a tailwind, whichever direction you're looking to go. And in the crypto space, because we have so much volatility, so many coins, very often you can be positioned bear in a relatively weak name and bull in a relatively strong name and have them both win. So it's definitely nice to be positioned on both sides, utilizing the ratio charts. And with that, even if they don't both win, which plenty of times both of them won't win, but you get one bull, you get one bear, your bull stops out, your bear cashes in for you, or vice versa. So definitely recommend continuing to dig into the ratio charts. I remember when Dan was talking about them back in the day, my brain just kind of went mush, because it's like, oh, I don't know if I really need that, or sounds complicated. And it is like another dimension to the trading game, but it's one well worth getting under your belt there. So talked about ETH, talked about ETH BTC. It's still just, I'm treating this as a daily stair step down, and as long as that's the case, ETH is weaker than Bitcoin. Looking at LTC here, let's go to the 6 hour, and we got a little tightening range here as well, or we'll go back to the 4 hour, because that's what we were using for these fib pulls. When we pull our fib and we're evaluating relative strength and weakness, we're between the 382 in the 0.5, so it's still just relatively weak. And LTC BTC, it is one of the few green ratio charts here, but only marginally, and daily stair step. So if that daily stair step can break, then we'll get a little relative strength into LTC, but we'll be looking for a lower high. And again, just not going to trip over these small time frames too much and try to nail the bottom of relative weakness on LTC, because we're in black dart breakdown. So there's no need to do that. You wait for it to get up and over the EMA, and then go ahead and search for your higher low there. So let's see what else we got. Looking at SEI, one of our, what's that, got a gap on there? I don't, oh, we're on the 3-day time frame? That's weird. 3-day time frame showing a gap. That's a glitch there on TradingView. But we know it was one of our lead bulls bouncing off of that sucker punch low, got back up to the highs, and now we've got daily consolidation underway. So anything over 55 cents is going to be a daily higher low. We got daily 12 EMA guide, and we've got a falling wedge on the hourly here that looks like it's just now trying to break bullish. So if bulls can get up and over 73.69, that would be a little hourly uptrend. That would have us seeing follow through on a 4-hour bounce. And if we can break our little 4-hour lower high here at 75.78, then that'd be the first sign that we got a fresh daily higher low shaping on up. So definitely keeping eyes on this falling wedge. And falling wedges are just, they're stellar patterns because they're high probability and they're decently easy to spot, because the main thing that you're looking at is, are my lower lows lacking follow through? We look at this, lower low, no follow through. We come back down here, lower low, no follow through. And really this first one's pretty much a lower low, no follow through as well. So it shows exhaustion from the bears, because if bears were moving and grooving, when you come back up here and you go to lower lows, you'd drop down, and then you'd reject from previous support as resistance, and then you'd come down, and you'd be doing that. But when you get these just wicks down or moves down that only last a candle like that, that tells you to start sniffing out a wedge. And typically how I will play them is depending on the steepness of the wedge, I like to run my risk at the apex. So I'll just do that, because if you come down below the apex, and it's probably not a wedge and it's just breaking bear from that, so you want to stop out, but you got to be a little loose with your stops, because you know that lower lows are not seeing follow through. So you don't want to just put your stop right down below the low, because that's a good way to end up just stopping out at the low. So I like to actually just have limit orders and buy the new lows, and then sell a little into the bounce, and then rinse and repeat as long as the wedge is going. And then oftentimes you can get yourself in a position with an average down below the apex before it even breaks on out from there. So, and if you want to learn more about wedges and just trading patterns in general, you know, your head and shoulders, your stair steps, all of that, that same webinar playlist, Joey webinars on the Chart Guys YouTube channel, that is the third webinar in there, goes all into the different patterns and stuff. So looking at some of our other strong names, INJ, you know, we were talking on Wednesday. The next couple days, we're going to learn a lot about a lot of these charts. And turns out a lot of them have just kind of been chilling sideways. But we are learning more about some. And one is INJ, because the question was going to be, is this a daily downtrend confirmed without follow through, or can bears see some follow through? Now that we got that daily bounce underway, it is officially a daily downtrend without follow through, which tells us to zoom on out, look for a weekly bull flag, and that's potentially what we've got here. So if that's going to shape up, bulls are going to need to hold the 29.21 low and then go back up and break wherever this bounce tops out at. Looking like we might be starting to top out here now, but we'll have to lose the higher low every daily candle pattern for that to be the case. And what else we got? ICP, another one of our strong names, just been riding the daily 12 EMA. We're consolidating on the daily again here, and the 12 EMA is coming on into play. So got a little dinky 4-hour downtrend, probably hourly is a bit clearer. Yeah, hourly 12 EMA resistance. Bulls need to get up and over that. That would be step one to shaping up the daily higher low. So keeping eyes on that. And TRB, also talked about on Wednesday, as we know we're looking for a weekly higher low. We're testing the weekly 12 EMA. We'll see if bulls can show up, and they are showing up after being weaker after that sucker punch came down. Bulls held the low of 110 and got a pretty decent 4-hour bounce underway here. So step one to getting that weekly higher low set is going to be the 4-hour uptrend confirming from here. And that's pretty much that for what I am looking at right now. Let's hop into the chat and see what y'all are looking at. Hello, everyone. Let's see. Jeffrey knows what's up. My prediction, I have 100% certainty, no idea what the market will do. Challenge me, I'll show you how much I'm right. You know, that's a good mindset to be in because nobody knows. And all we can do is paint scenarios and have game plans for these different scenarios. But anybody who, unless they have insider information, anybody who has certainty about what's going to happen in the market is a farce. Like it's so interesting talking to professional traders and talking to hobbyists or people who are not traders at all. It's so, the difference is so stark that every professional trader I know fully knows that they have no clue what's going to go on. We just are playing probabilities and trying to put ourselves in scenarios where we can benefit. So good mindset to have there. D. Lee from Ohio. What's up, neighbor? Yeah, Michigan, it's pretty cold right now. I'm feeling cold down in North Carolina, but I know it's not nearly as cold as it is up in Michigan. I used to love the winter when I was a kid, but growing up a little bit more, playing in the snow a little bit less, it's just too cold for me. What up, Downster? Happy to see you in here, sir. Foxy. Everyone who likes will be green today. That is right. That is right, and that is a chart guy's promise. If you like the video, you'll be green. Let's see. Meta thinks the announcement's coming Monday. Yeah, we'll see. We will see. Joka, hello. Dylan, hello. E.R. Berg, hello. Yeah, let's pop in and look at Cardano. I think I got it on here somewhere. There it is. So definitely one of our weaker names here. Just looking at the 4-hour chart right now. And we'll do that same fib retracement that we were doing on everybody else. We are below the 382 and reached down to the 236. So that is clear relative weakness. And if we look at ADA BTC, it very well might be down to new lows. Yeah, it's right down at them. So that is that relative weakness there. And ADA BTC breaking the sucker punch lows would be a sign that ADA USD is positioned well to follow. So let's zoom on out a little bit. We had our tightening range, bear break. We're still certainly looking for a weekly higher low, and as long as bulls hold the weekly 12 EMA, then it will be healthy, but no signs of relative strength at the moment. And we've got nice 4-hour 12 EMA resistance, little 4-hour downtrend, and lower high resistance is at 55.85. That would need to break as step one to shift some momentum. And if we go back to that ADA BTC, we can see we've just got a clear 4-hour stair step. So I would probably wait for this to turn around if you're looking for any upside in ADA. And perhaps, let's see, would ADA be, I would probably put ADA with this behavior today. I would probably put that in the category with Matic and Ape as potential top fish names if we get a bull reaction to some ETF headlines. All right. Golf C, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. Few people saying headline next week. The big thing is that nobody knows. We'll see what we get. Nobody knows. We just got to have our alert set. We got to be nimble. And if you didn't watch the stream on Wednesday, go to the end of that stream. It's maybe in like the final 5 minutes. I go through what alerts I'm using to stay on top of this action. And yeah, Tahir, hello. Revi, hello. Let's see. Most useful coins are getting wrecked hard, says MEP. That's the tough thing, man. I definitely have respect for the people that have dug into the nuts and bolts of what all of these alts do and whatnot, because I am like fundamentally I know very little in the crypto space, and I prefer it that way because that allows me to just view all of these charts without bias. I don't see something like SHIB as completely useless and something like Cardano or Solana as like the potential next big thing or whatever. So it kind of helps keep a clean mind, and that's how I like to go about it. Just because it's like, all right, well, right now the most useful coins are getting wrecked. That doesn't make sense, right? Well, I don't know. That's just kind of how the charts go. The ebbs and flows of relative strength come and go, just like the ebbs and flows of price action up and down. Let's see, SIA coin looking strong. Let me see, I have not heard of that. I'm assuming it's SIA USD. Now, so this is like a low volume. No, that's not it. SIA. Yeah, I'm not. Oh, that was it. SIA coin. Here we go. Yeah, that is another strong one for sure. And is it it's not a blue sky bull. So this is actually looking kind of like ICP, where we've got relative strength right now, but we're smoked way off the top. If we look at ICP, you know, kind of similar, but bit of a different structure in the sense that this had that whole buildup. But yeah, this is another coin that tightening range, bear breaks, snap back to new highs. So right off the weekly 12 EMA, we knew weekly 12 EMA was support, and this is what every name wants to do when they get to the weekly 12 EMA. It's the ideal reaction off of that. So right through daily lower highs, and now from here, SCUUSDT, or it's just SCUSDT. Need to confirm a daily uptrend if you want to confirm a weekly bull flag with confidence there. So on the 4 hour, just tight here. If we break bear from this, that'll be like 12 hour. No, we already got our 12 hour consolidation. If we break bear from that, let's see, I guess we got a decent amount of time left in the daily candle, 4.5 hours, but the bear break would likely be that daily consolidation. Let's see, Jaanzib. I totally botched that. My bad, dude. Can I share my last trade, why I took it, and how I decided to enter? Yeah, absolutely. It is not crypto, but it is, it's NASDAQ and NASDAQ futures. It was yesterday. I haven't made any trades today. So and I'll try to be quick with this since it's not crypto, but 4 hour oversold. We're looking for a weekly high or low. We're kind of in that zone where that could shape on up. Switch my watch list here. We had NQES ratio nearing its weekly support, so potential that relative strength can be coming back over to NQ now. So I knew on the open that I was interested in establishing a position. And after we saw this strong move up in the first few minutes, so this is the open right here, I scaled in a few entries on the move down, scaled out some into the highs, bought some more on the way down, scaled them back out to these highs, bought some more down here, scaled them out towards the highs here, and then I had a runner looking for a daily bounce that ended up riding up and coming all the way back down here. So let me real quick find something in Slack, just because, you know, there's so many, you know, scammers in the space. Let's see, I can't type and talk at the same time. So many scammers in the space. So, you know, we post all this stuff in the chat room. You know, we don't necessarily post every trade, but we post a lot of our trades here in the chat room. So let me, where is this here? Here it is. Okay, so open this up in a new window. So you can see this is just kind of what we've got going on in the chat room. The chart guys, people will post their stuff, their things they're doing. So this is, you know, 9:36 a.m. yesterday, posting the entries, posting the exits, and ultimately just churned the position. So that was this was all the buys and sells by the end of the trade, and then ended up stopping out on those new lows later at night. But the whole reason, people may say, like, if you want the bounce, why are you buying and selling and buying and selling and buying and selling? Well, because when I ended up stopping out down here on the new lows right at the end of the day, it was a 3.5 day maker with what I had left, because I churned, and you build up the size of your position and you lower your cost basis, and you can have it be that even if you're wrong and this doesn't end up being a weekly higher low or a 4-hour oversold bounce, that you can still profit. So that is the last trade that I took there. So let's get back to our crypto stuff. Sorry about anybody who just freaking hates the NASDAQ. Let's see. Ape has a huge coin unlock coming in, or is done now. I guess we don't really, or can't do much with that at this point. But yeah, I mean, this thing's still just weak. This thing is still just so weak. I don't bother myself too much with the unlocks unless you've got like a steady dump into it, because essentially the same psychology that has us looking for a potential sell the news on this ETF announcement, you get the reverse of it, of a potential buy the news on like a big coin unlock, or you'll see it in the stock market after IPOs. A lot of shares are locked up for a while, and then you'll get these unlocks. And if you're just dumping down into the unlock, then that's it being priced in, that there's essentially going to be big time dilution. And sometimes you get one final flush and then there's no one left to sell, because who's left to sell after you've just been doing the same thing for so long going into this known event? And that's the key thing with buy the news and sell the news. It's, do you have a known event? If it's not a known event, then it's a surprise and the market needs to readjust to this new info. But the longer a carrot is dangled in front of you, then the greater the odds that it's going to be a buy the news or sell the news event, essentially because the market has already priced it all in. And that's why with Bitcoin, I think there's decent odds of a sell the news. I mean, this has been all headline hype the whole way up here, up nearly 100%. We'll just go from this low, 84%, tons of volume, tons of buy-in. Who's going to see that a headline dropped and say, I'm going to buy Bitcoin now? Not professional traders. I don't think, at least. No one knows. We'll see what we get going, but just, you see this often. It's not an uncommon thing. We talked about it on Wednesday, the perfect example of why folks need to be cautious. And I understand high conviction and knowing that this is huge for Bitcoin, bigger picture, but that doesn't mean that we can't see a very sharp pullback in the short term. And this is the Canopy Growth Corporation chart, who was the sector leader at the time when Canadian cannabis became legal, which became legal on this day right here. It ended up being a sneaky sell the news that it was the day before, because everybody was looking for the sell the news on the day of. But, this is cannabis is illegal through all of this, and then it becomes legal. It's going to be in all the stores. It's going to be all this and that. And then it gets smoked forever from there. So certainly not saying that's the fate of Bitcoin, just using it as an example to remind ourselves to make sure that we're not too confident in one direction or the other. And it does go both ways. You can be saying, I think it's going to be sell the news. I think it's going to be sell the news. But, we might squeeze up to all-time highs before it's a blow-off top or something. Nobody knows. So you don't want to get a spike up and say, oh, this will surely be sell the news, and then you short at 4,700 or 47,000, and then we go up to 57,000 and you get smoked. Got to manage your risk, got to be nimble, got to be open-minded, and got to have a game plan ahead of time. You can't anticipate to navigate this stuff fluidly if you're not game planning ahead of time. So write it down on a piece of paper, have your game plan, know what coins you're going to top fish if that's an opportunity, know what coins you're going to buy back burners on, if that's an opportunity, all of that stuff. And then as it goes on, look at your ratio charts and see, is this fully the Bitcoin show, or do we have any alts outperforming? What's dominance doing? Have your order of operations for the things that you want to stay on top of if you're going to try to actively trade this stuff, which there's no problem if you don't want to actively trade it. Stuff like this, headlines like this, it's definitely like the tougher version of the game. I like to kind of compare it to like swinging a baseball bat. If you're swing trading the weekly time frame, that's like hitting a underhand pitch. It's nice and slow. You have a lot of time to think about it, but your swing is all the same as it would be if you're getting a 75 mile an hour pitch sent at you. And that would be like day trading the 5-minute time frame or something like that. But if we're talking about like ETF reactions, FOMC or CPI reactions, that's like major leagues. You're getting the 100 mile an hour pitch and you have to be that much quicker. If you've only been hitting 40 mile an hour balls and then think that you can step up to the plate and someone can pitch you the heat and you're going to even make contact, then, that's a little misguided there. So you need to build up to it. So that being, the reason I'm saying this is there's no problem if you don't want to try to slang the ETF volatility out there. The number one priority in trading is protecting our capital. So unless you're a professional with a lot of experience trading high volatility, then I would not recommend trading the immediate reaction. You can chill on it and look for, whatever play ends up setting up. It's tough to, it could be anything. So we'll see from there. Let's see, get him back in here. Let's see, looking at link for Stoic and Integrity Pavement Solutions. I don't know if this is a placed ad, but if it is, you did well by complimenting me. You're welcome, sir. Or not complimenting, that's not what that is. Just showing gratitude. It's my pleasure, man. I love crypto. I love charts. I love technical analysis, and I love trading. So being able to hop on a stream and talk about all this stuff and share what I've learned over basically giving up a normal life. I don't have a family, don't have a partner. I have friends. I promise I have friends, but it's a pretty isolated life to become a true chart nerd. So making that sacrifice, I'm happy to be able to like share all of this with you so you don't have to necessarily be such a freaking nerd about it. So Link USD, we had one higher high with no follow through, two higher highs with no follow through, then loss of the weekly uptrend. That is our monthly consolidation getting underway. And now the question is similar to INJ that we were talking about. Is it a monthly bull flag? Or no, INJ was the weekly bull flag. So this is the cool fractal nature of all of this stuff. Like what we're looking at on Link is very similar to what we were looking at on INJ, but it's one like nested time frame zoomed out here. So we're certainly going to be looking for a monthly high or low, and bulls want to hold the back test of these EMAs that are looking to cross back bullish. So it's about 1050 at this point, and we're a bit weaker than everybody else. Many names were coming off the highs with that news. Link had already topped out. We've got our daily downtrend as the guide for weekly consolidation, and just going to keep it simple with that. So next time we bounce on the daily, anything below 1606 going to be a daily lower high, and that is the daily time frame. Let's look at our 4 hour, maybe 6 hours a little clearer. Yeah, I like the 6 hour. So we've got a 6 hour downtrend, and 6 hour lower high resistance is 1477. That's going to need to break to try to get that daily bounce underway. And as of now, we do have relative weakness compared to some peers. The initial snap up was quite strong. So from a retracement perspective, we're still in the middle of the road here, right around the 50% retrace, which is, decent. Bitcoin's up at 62. You've got some other names down between the 236 and 382. So we're middle of the pack there, but the past half day or so, we have been a bit weaker here. So let's see if we even have more details. Yeah, just slinking down. Not a lot to really glean from that 30-minute 12 EMA resistance. Bull's going to need to get up and over that as step one to shaping up a 4-hour bounce or 6-hour bounce if that's what we're looking at. And then it would be all about breaking 1477 to get a daily uptrend. So let's look at Link BTC, see if it's next to it here. So yeah, we can see this relative weakness here just continuing to slink down. And we can say as long as 6-hour 12 EMA is resistance on Link BTC, then it's got relative weakness compared to Bitcoin and peers. We can see this, excuse me, topped out a good while back, beginning of November, not beginning, second week of November, that topped out, and we've had overall relative weakness on Link since then. But let's see, we're looking for a monthly higher low here as well. So this is one of those things where it's like Link is relatively weak right now because we're consolidating on the monthly, but we're definitely looking for a monthly higher low. And when this ratio chart can turn it around, then we're going to be looking for a monthly inverse head and shoulders. Big old monthly inverse head and shoulders. And that would be needed to, what was that wedge? Let me go check that out. That monthly inverse head and shoulders. Oh, that was the bull break that really got that first rip up on Link going. We'll delete those lines. But yeah, if bulls really want Link to come back into the limelight, like back here, and obviously this is, this wasn't a wildly bullish environment. This is, 2018 into 19. It held on. It didn't go down as far as peers. But if we want Link to come back in the limelight, you need to regain a monthly uptrend there. Let's see, where were we in here? Special K, thank you very much. I'm glad you're enjoying. Dan is a fantastic teacher, fantastic mentor. It really couldn't be more blessed, man, to find him, because I feel like a lot of traders, you kind of bop around different communities and it's like a bunch of stinkers and a bunch of stinkers and a bunch of stinkers. And the common thread when people end up coming to Chart Guys is they're like, man, I wish I found you guys sooner. And I guess my excuse me, I got a little something in my throat. My interest in cannabis brought me to Dan, and I lucked out that he was the first one that really taught me anything, so I didn't have to get taught a bunch of trash first. So Dan is the man. TK is asking when moon. Who knows? Who knows, sir? Nobody knows. Taking a look at ASTR. So we know ASTR was one of our lead bulls yesterday. Where is it on here? But it's a lead bear today. But it's just daily consolidation, and this shows the volatility of this name. Off the top here is already 20%. If you're looking at this chart, you're like, no big deal. Just a little pullback, but it's so volatile. So very clear guide for ASTR, daily 12 EMA. As long as that is intact, then bulls are in full control here. And once that's lost, we'll look down to weekly 12 EMA for a weekly higher low. And this is all keeping in mind that it wouldn't be shocking to see a quarterly lower high, or maybe we're on 6 months now is a little bit clearer. It wouldn't be shocking to see a 6-month lower high compared to all-time highs, but that's not going to shape up unless you start to lose the weekly 12 EMA. So let's check, see if we got hourly oversold. So we have hit the hourly oversold back burner. We haven't hit it since back here, which marked the bottom after that. I don't even know what this insanity was, but this was actual trading. It's not a scam wick. It climbed on up there if you go look into the 5-minute. But bulls want this to be the daily higher low, or need it to be the daily higher low, because if it's not, and we drop to lower lows, then that's the first sign of weekly consolidation. So we know the ways we can evaluate health. We have retracement size, we have our trends, and then we have our back burner breakdown. What back burners are hitting. And in a healthy daily uptrend, hourly oversold is marking your daily higher low. So bull's going to need to get over hourly 12 EMA to get a 4-hour bounce underway, and then going to need to regain a 4-hour uptrend to get a daily higher low set. And the question will be, does it happen from here Or do we pull back further and potentially shape up some weekly consolidation? Taking a look at Phil for crypto space. Phil USDT. This is a bit of a different structure than a lot of other alts here at this point. Let me start zoomed out. So we got a little dinky quarterly bounce underway. We have a move. You could say, no, that's not a, or it is a monthly uptrend. Wow, just very, or no, it's not, excuse me. Let me slow it down here. This is a monthly equilibrium. We got low, high, higher low, and potentially a lower high shaping on up compared to 950. But we would need to lose the weekly 12 EMA if that's going to be the case. So definitely a big pullback off of the top 30%, but still a weekly stair step and no longer a daily uptrend. We lost daily support, or maybe that's a double bottom. Let's drop a line and see. That is a double bottom. So we are still technically in a daily uptrend, but bears do have a lot of room for a daily lower high right now. And we're on the weaker side. If we pull our retracements, like we were doing on the other names here, and we can see that we're down below the 236. So the only weaker name was ADA BTC that we've looked at this point. So we've got 4-hour 12 EMA resistance, 4-hour stair step down, probably hourly 12 EMA resistance here. So if bulls can get over hourly 12 EMA, that'll be a 4-hour bounce shaping up, and then bulls will need to get over 4-hour 12 EMA to try to shape a daily bounce up. And then bears are going to be looking for a daily lower high compared to 812 due to the depth of this pullback. And if we're going to see weekly consolidation get underway, bears are going to need to do that, form a daily lower high and lower low. It's nice to get a sucker punch, but if bears are going to take over, they need to confirm the downtrend. Link ETH for Alex Hay. Link ETH. Let's get our bigger picture look. So we have got our quarterly bounce underway. We have a monthly stair step that broke, so pretty similar to Link BTC in as far as the last 8 months or so. And we'll be looking for a higher low. So this is showing that Link is weaker than ETH over the past couple months. And we've got a weekly downtrend as the guide for this monthly consolidation. So higher low, lower high, lower low. That's your downtrend. So anything below this December 25th weekly candle, going to be a weekly lower high next bounce. And we've got technically not a stair step, it is still a stair step. So just daily stair step all the way down here. So that's going to need to shift to get a daily bounce underway. Then we're going to be looking for a daily lower high compared to that December 28th candle top. And if bulls want to try to get a weekly bounce underway, need to regain a daily uptrend. So right now, Link is weaker. It's the same concept that we were talking about with Link BTC, where it's like right now it's weaker, but we're looking for a higher low and can anticipate that relative strength will come back in when that shapes on up. We did cover SEI. Let's check back in on it. See, we're watching an hourly falling wedge, trying to see if that can shape up a potential daily higher low. And it's exactly where it was when we last talked about it. Bull's going to have to break that 73.69 to go ahead and try to shift some momentum, regain an hourly uptrend, and potentially set a real quick daily higher low here. So I care most about the daily 12 EMA though. So if we fall back down through the falling wedge, it's not the strongest look, but as long as we're holding daily 12 EMA, that's chill. So let's look at SUI. So SUI, kind of fugly here, a little bit of a lack of clarity. Let's see if we can find some clarity somewhere. So I guess we got these weekly higher lows and bulls trying to get one set here down at the low of that sucker punch, 68 cents. And like everybody else, going to need to regain a daily uptrend, though if we look at that retracement size, this is the kind of scenario with how close we are to resistance that I could see bulls just V-shaping it to new highs. This is one of the stronger ones that we've seen aside from like TRB that just V-shaped to new highs. We're up over the 786 at the moment, or just below it at the moment, but we certainly got up and over there. So a little 4-hour tightening range, bear break, and that would be like a 12-hour higher low trying to shape on up. And what do bulls got to do to get something done? Ultimately going to need to get through all of these resistances. You got 1, 2, 3. So that highest one is 87.56. And if you can get through that, that is the daily bounce getting underway. And then we're just looking up to this 94.20 high. So not a lot of clarity. And honestly, as like an active trader, I don't care what I'm trading. What I care about is, do we have clarity? And I know everybody's different with this, especially in the crypto space, since there's a lot of fundamental folks in here. But if I have something that I don't have clarity on, I just won't trade it. I'll find something that has a clearer look. You know, like Bitcoin, we know exactly what we're looking at here. We've got a 4-hour tightening range, low, high, higher low, lower high, and higher low trying to shape on up. That's nice and clear. We know where that extrapolates out to our larger time frames, but something like SUI in the short term don't really have a lot of clarity. So let's see what we got. 15-minute uptrend and 12 EMA. So if that's lost, that'd be the first sign of a 4-hour lower high shaping up, and ultimately bull's going to need to regain a 4-hour uptrend to get some mojo back looking towards those highs. Let's see, Gamma, do we have a date for the ETF? We do not. There was, I think it was like Fox reported it yesterday that I can pull the headline here. Pull the headline here and bring it on the chart. So, you know, this is another great thing about the chat room, is that as soon as news comes out or something's posted, somebody's all over it. So this is the headline that came out yesterday saying that today's the day. So is that the case? I don't know. I know a lot of other folks are looking for like by January 10th. So that would have to happen sooner than later. If that's going to happen, we got 5 days. So we're in this period where I would say if nothing comes out by the 10th, then, you know, you might see some downward pressure as it's just like no news. And then people kind of either feel safe shorting again, or people like are trying to be long to time this headline, decide they want to get out. So I would think there's potential for some downside if there is no headline, but I would expect a weekly higher low because, you know, everybody's set on the headline at this point. And until we get something affirmative, that like fundamental story is what's driving things right now. So y'all know, or maybe you don't know. If you don't, now you do. I'm not a news guy. I don't like paying attention to it. I don't like following it, but I definitely keep in mind what is the narrative, because markets operate in narratives and there's always some kind of candle or carrot getting dangled. I combine those words there. There's often a carrot getting dangled in front, whether it be interest rates or the China trade war or you know, whatever, lockdown stuff. There's always a narrative, and it's important to be aware of what does the market care about right now. It's not like I'm out here trading right off these headlines or anything like that, but I know darn well at any given moment what does the market care about right now, so that you can know if something comes out, you know, you got to be cautious, like fading a specific move or doing this or doing that. So now is the time for something to happen, or else the waiting game will resume. And again, speaking to weekly consolidation on Bitcoin, you know, it's underway, but even if we drop down to new lows here, as long as we hold the 12 EMA, it's healthy. So that's right now around like 39K. So you could drop $3,500 from here and still have healthy weekly consolidation. Let's see what else we got here. You know, it's kind of, I don't know how Dan reads this all so smooth. It's like really tiny text. It's really tiny text. I gotta like lean in here to see this. Joka Nan talking about some Apple divergence. You know, definitely looking for some bounces in tech. Tech's been relatively weak. We won't go into that because this is a crypto stream, but definitely looking for some bounces in tech, but bulls definitely struggling. You got a really strong bounce yesterday and then gave it all back. Even stronger bounce today and on the way to giving it all back again. Back to the Bitcoin chart. Let's see, we did just get a little pop on some volume 10 minutes ago. Is that our 4-hour higher low being set? Still not yet. We got 3 minutes left in the candle, and then bulls will need to break 43.8K to get that 4-hour higher low set. Integrity Pavement Solutions. It's not an intentional placed ad, but if you need your asphalt maintained by this guy, he can do it. That's his thing. Kapu Collective, my man Bennett, paying it forward as always. You're such a lovely man, such a friendly guy. Let's see. Thank you very much. I'm going to botch your name again. John Zabe. Thank you very much for those kind words. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. And to let you all know, I do plan, as long as I'm home, which, let's be real, is most of the time, when an ETF announcement comes out, I'm planning to pop live right on it, and we'll track the action and decipher and break down what the heck we've got going on. Short bus, shout out to r/weed stocks. Yeah, honestly, changed my life. I'm just on Reddit looking at some weed stocks subreddit, buying the top of ACB. That's what I did. That was the beginning of my trading career. I was buying the top of ACB. But little did I know that I'd come across Dan, and that would completely change my life. So absolutely blessed with by running across him there. As far as, let's see what we got. Revy, how high do I think Bitcoin will reach this year? Bull case? I don't know, man. That's not really my shtick. That's not my skill set, doing like larger time frame targeting or anything like that. Like, my edge lies in being able to decipher what's going on and determining what are the implications from that. So if Bitcoin keeps a weekly uptrend, then we'll continue bullish. And I'm very open to us keeping a weekly uptrend all the way to 100,000, just picking any random number above all-time highs. And I'm also very open to us setting a 6-month lower high and tightening up, similar to what we did in 2018 and 2019. So predictions have never been my shtick and probably are not ever going to be. So no prediction here, just gonna stay nimble and take what the markets give us. Let's see, RNDR, we had strength yesterday and weakness today. Let's see what we've got. So another one, weekly consolidation, looking at weekly 12 EMA, and we're pretty much there. So bulls got to show up soon if they don't want monthly consolidation to shape on up, which if that happens, we'll have tons of room for a monthly higher low. And that's the beauty of being in uptrends on all time frames, is that when you get whacked out of one time frame, you just zoom out and then you got another shot at it. So instead of like gaining one time frame and then zooming out and seeing that you have like another boss ahead of you, and that would be like trying to play long in downtrends or short in uptrends. If you're with the trend and you've got uptrends on all time frames, you're just chilling because you have so many shots to keep it together. So RNDR, definitely a momentum shift here, and it started before that flush there. This was a standard EMA rider, and then the way those plays work out, so once you lose the EMA, you fish the highs, you look for the trend change. So that played out, and now we are among the weaker coins here. Sprung back, one of our stronger bounces yesterday, but just 4-hour stair step all the way down. And if we pull our fib, we are between the 236 and the 382. So hourly 12 EMA resistance, 4-hour stair step. Got to get over those to get a 4-hour bounce underway, and then tons of room for a 4-hour lower high compared to 471.8. So if bulls are going to shape up a weekly high or low, you got to go one step at a time. Got to regain a 4-hour uptrend. Got to regain a daily uptrend. Let's see. I got to start to wrap this up. We've been chatting for an hour here at this point. Let's see. Checking out AVAX. So AVAX, another weaker one. Stronger bounce yesterday, but weaker here today. So that's kind of a common characteristic here. And if we pull our fib just to get that perspective, another one between the 236 and the 382. As far as our weekly time frame, got consolidation. As long as we hold the 12 EMA, it's going to be healthy. And we've got a daily downtrend at this point. So anything below 43.44 going to be a daily lower high. And bull's going to need to regain a daily uptrend if they're going to get a weekly higher low set. Looking at SOL. The question on SOL, similar to INJ, was, is this going to be a weekly bull flag or not? And we're still kind of waiting on some information. It's definitely a lack of initial follow-through on the daily downtrend confirming, but you need to get your daily bounce underway to truly say it's a lack of follow-through. And if we look at INJ, you can see the difference here, that we got that daily bounce underway. We confirmed the downtrend, then we got the bounce. That told us it's a true lack of follow-through. So SOL bulls need to break this little daily stair step to the downside to be able to say the same thing. So looking at the 4-hour here, we are above the 0.5 retrace of the move on Wednesday, and we almost retraced the whole thing on the strength of the bounce. So definitely got some relative strength, and it's another one of those ones that had relative strength yesterday and a little bit of relative weakness here today. So got a little 4-hour downtrend, 4-hour lower high resistance, 103.17. That needs to break to try to shape up a daily bounce from here. Got to regain that we did regain the 4-hour uptrend, and then we reconfirmed a 4-hour downtrend, all within a big old daily inside bar. Let's see. Looking at Happy. Never looked at this chart. Well, yeah, that's definitely breaking out. Zoom on out. Anytime I'm looking at a new chart, I zoom all the way out, get our context. So we have got not technically a monthly uptrend, but big monthly move up. What kind of volatility do we have? 358%. So very strong. Got a weekly uptrend. We are at all-time highs on weekly RSI. So, like many names here, we're not going to lose track that, I guess it would be the 6-month lower high. Not going to lose track that a 6-month lower high is the most likely scenario, but there's tons of room for that to form, another 300%. And we'll just trust our weekly uptrend as the guide for tight bull control. Looking at the daily, pretty much daily equilibrium, little sloppy in there, then bull break on big time follow through. And you can see it didn't even waver on Wednesday when everything else dumped. So it's kind of doing its own thing. Looks like a 2-day 12 EMA rider. 2-day 12 EMA is your guide. So as long as 2-day 12 EMA is support, bulls are in full control, and that's your guide there on Happy. And EMA riders are just great for that. So it looks like we got a 4-hour stair step, hourly uptrend, or hourly tightening range, trying to break bull and double top at the moment. So a little support here is 27.23. As long as that is support, then bulls maintain tight control. If that's lost, we'll have some 4-hour consolidation shaping up, and bulls want to hold 4-hour 12 EMA to fend off any daily consolidation. Let's see, we'll take a look at BNB. Oh, lots of requests in here. Lots of requests. I love it. I love looking at these coins. So I'm happy you guys are tossing them in. So BNB, weekly bigger picture, I guess monthly. We just got this like monthly tightening range. It's not perfect, but low, high, higher low, lower high, little lower low without follow through, holding the next support, and now we're up here right against our lower high resistance at 350. So we've got a weekly uptrend and a weekly stair step at this point, and holding on pretty well at the highs. It's another one that hardly wavered on Wednesday. Definitely a wick down, but anything that held daily 12 EMA on that big dump is definitely got some relative strength. We got the daily higher low set. I guess you could kind of make some arguments about those wicks. Maybe we go out to the 2-day to make it a little bit clearer. 2-day uptrend, 2-day higher low set. So that makes 293.6. Most important support. Daily, we had the bounce up. Now we have daily consolidation again. So anything over that 230, 293 would be a higher low. And on the 4-hour, we're just straight off the top. So if bears want to see follow through on daily consolidation, they're going to need to confirm a 4-hour downtrend. And if bulls want to set the 4-hour or daily higher low, they need to regain a 4-hour uptrend. Let's look at BNB BTC. Probably see that relative strength. Yeah, I mean, Wednesday was that big bounce on the ratio chart, and that is the bounce of like BNB going down less than Bitcoin. So it's always the double-sided dealio with these ratio charts. When BNB BTC is going up, it can mean BNB is going up more than BTC, or it can mean BNB is going down less than BTC. So it was the latter there. So not a whole ton to glean here that we aren't getting from the USD pairing. Let's see. I think that is that. BT, my pleasure. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for tuning on in. If you can hit the like button, it greatly helps us out. The algo likes, and when the algo likes, it shares the knowledge with more people, which is our goal here. So thank you for hitting that like button. Thank you for coming and tuning in. If you're not subscribed to the channel, we've got a great team and lots of great content, tons of free content on there. It's crazy. You know, Dan's been a machine for years on end at this point. So anything under the sun, we've got a video on it, all free on that YouTube channel. So stay on your toes, set your alerts, check out the stream from Wednesday if you haven't checked it out, because there's a lot more talk about the whole sell the news, not sell the news. How are we going to evaluate it, all this and that. So check that out if you didn't check it out. And, you know, hopefully I see y'all again soon with some news. So have a great weekend. I suppose it's Friday. We'll see. Actually, one more thing, knowing that it's Friday. So the ideal alt weekends that we've had quite a decent bit in 2023 is Bitcoin just goes sideways on the weekend and then you get your alts to pop. So keep an eye on your ratio charts, your alt ratio charts. Look for ones that are looking for higher lows and have that on your watch list. And we'll see if we can see if the alts can come out to play this weekend if we don't have headline stuff creating other volatility. So thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks for the requests. Thanks for the love and support. And I will see you next time. Take care.